It's time now for this week's Dealing with Dollars. Credit card bills are making their way into mailboxes. And for many people, a lot of their borrowing came from the holidays. Now it's time to pay that back. WFXR's Evan Johnson talks with an expert about how you can pay it back quickly, saving you money in the long run.
Well, many people find themselves entering this new year with holiday debt. And to help us quickly tackle that debt is finance industry analyst for Money Tips, Nathan Grant. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
So what advice do you have for people who are trying to quickly pay off that holiday debt?
Well, paying interest on whether it's holiday debt or any debt is just kind of like throwing money away. So paying down that high interest debt earlier in the year is going to help you succeed going forward into 2023. So, obviously, debt is something that every year people are trying to figure out how to free up more money in their budgets. And I think right now, a couple good things that people can do are look at your unnecessary subscriptions or automatic payments that you might have set up long ago. And, we're all guilty of it. You forget that you signed up for that service and your show's over with and you're not really using it right now. Look at everything that you're putting your money into every month. And if you can cut back on a few of those and free up some extra money that could go towards paying off your debt faster, there's a little bit right there. Another thing people can look into is cutting back on things like delivery apps like DoorDash or Instacart, because I know from experience for sure that from the minute you start ordering on the app to the time you check out, a lot of times you're like astounded by how much more that actually is. And if you can maybe cut back, at least in the beginning of the year, as you're trying to pay off some of your holiday debt, free up some of that extra money from those things and, make the drive to pick up the food if you still want to get some takeout. And then another thing that I think something a lot of people don't realize you can do with especially credit cards is actually calling the card issuer and seeing if you can shift your due date. Because if your due date falls around the same time as your mortgage payment, your rent, your car payment, you might just be paying the minimum. And one thing with credit card debt is that if you're only paying the minimum every month, it's going to feel like you're never catching up. You're never getting ahead. You want to put as much as possible so you can get that paid off and over time save money on the interest on that debt.
Now, I know a lot of people are considering transferring all of their credit card debt onto one credit card. Is that a good option?
Yeah, so especially if you have multiple balances and you want to simplify the process of paying your debt, it can be much easier. And of course, you'd be able to avoid late payments if it's easier to pay, which can damage your credit scores on top of just trying to pay off the debt. Even a single late payment can remain in your credit reports for up to 7 years. So consolidating multiple to a credit card with a lower interest rate is going to save you money and possibly help make it easier to pay off. But even if it's just a single credit card, transferring a high interest balance to a credit card with a 0% introductory offer, which are often the ones you might get in the mail and you go, oh, I don't need to sign up for a new credit card. But if it's been a while, you have a pretty good credit standing, it might be worth your time. And of course, it's going to be subject to approval, not just the card itself, but how much. But even if you can transfer a portion of a high interest balance to a card with like a 0% APR for a year or more, that's a lot more time for you to be able to pay that off without paying the interest on top of it. So I'd say, everybody's situation's unique, but look and see if it's something that might benefit your situation and help you get caught up.
Wow, some great tips there. Nathan Grant, finance industry analyst for Money Tips. Thanks so much for giving us this advice today.
Mm-hmm.
And if you missed any of Nathan's tips, we have them posted for you on the Dealing with Dollars page at WFXRTV.com. Back to you.